Hello, this is Schizofenik, and I thought I'd finally give my opinions on the upcoming Predator movie titled Prey, which is due to be released on the 5th of August in the UK. Now, I must make it clear that my hopes and expectations for all Predator movies are incredibly low because of this, and this, and this, and most certainly because of this. In fact, the last time I was satisfied by a Predator film was all the way back in 1990 with Predator 2. So I'll be setting my standards very low with Prey, but I also do not want to damn a film even before it has been released. Prey deserves its chance, and I cannot give any opinions on the film without having watched it. I will, however, discuss my likes and dislikes from the trailers, as well as try to answer some of the questions and frustrations that I have seen floating about online. This is the first Predator movie that is set in the past, being 1719, and I've been calling out for a film that does this for many years now. In actual fact, I released a video in 2018 where I pitched my idea for a Predator movie that was set in the early 1900s on a whaling station that saw whalers go up against a more primitive predator that did not possess a plasma caster. I will provide a link to that video here if you wish to watch it. Speaking of the plasma caster, it is said that the Yautja in this movie is also missing the aforementioned weapon, which I think is a good choice. I also like the Great North American Wilderness as the landscape for this movie, which is picturesque in the day but eerie by night, making for some tense moments of horror that have been missing from many Predator movies. I like the choice of director in Dan Trachtenberg, who also directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was full of tension, so perhaps some of that can rub off on this movie. I really like the primal look of this Yautja, with its more rudimentary technology and costume. Its biomask in particular reminds me of the mask worn by Leatherface, as it looks like the skin from a previous kill has been attached to it. This would certainly bring a stalker-slasher-killer aesthetic to the creature. A lot of fans have rightly been questioning how this individual sees through the biomask, as it does not seem to have eye holes. However, this would not be the first time a biomask did not have eye holes, so perhaps they can see through them in some way. Another thing I noticed was this Yautja's massive size. It is a truly hulking individual. I mean, look at that silhouette. It could rival the evolved Predator for muscularity. This is not necessarily a good thing, as we all found out that bigger is not necessarily better, however it is still something I noticed. Unfortunately, I have also noticed that they have gone with the longer, thinner dreadlock appendages, which move away from that of the original movie. With all this said, I hope that we do not see too much of the creature until the very end, and have more subjective camera work, like the original movie, which would shroud the monster in mystery. Finally, this Predator sounds like a Yautja should, with its accurate clicks and snarls that echo the original movie. I like some of the creature's more primitive Yautja weaponry, which seem to be an array of stabbing weapons as opposed to plasma technology. Although it still has the targeting laser, this spear gun type gadget looks like it might have replaced the plasma caster as its ranged weapon. Another interesting one is this fan-like shield, or early version of the smart disc, however it does still keep the typical wrist blades. The human characters also have a simple arsenal, with spears, arrows and axes being the weapons available to them, which makes combating this alien assassin much more challenging. I enjoyed some of the action sequences, and always wanted to see a Yautja take on one of the planet's deadliest predators on the big screen. Its destruction of the grizzly was therefore interesting to me, as I knew predators were strong, but not this strong. I have always maintained in previous videos that no human could engage in hand-to-hand unarmed combat with a Yautja, and I think this moment proves me correct. It is literally pressing 800 pounds of dead weight over its head. Well, at least it finally gets its revenge for the awful Predator Primal comic, where a Yautja actually lost to a bear. Some of the other clips demonstrated that this individual is more of a close-quarters fighter, perhaps due to its weaponry. This again would give it that stalker-slasher serial killer element, where it likes to get up close and personal with its victims. I feel like this style of combat would work well at night and augment the horror aspect of the film, but I'm not so sure about this moment, where it fights its prey in broad daylight. That gives me the Predator vibes. In other moments, we did see the Yautja scaling trees, which I really hope we see more of, as I do prefer the idea of a silent assassin picking its prey off, rather than a hulking beast that just charges into battle. I like the idea of some of the parallels this film draws between the human characters and the Predator. The Native American tribe is similar to the idea of a Predator clan, where you have to prove yourself as a hunter in initiation hunts, etc. Both groups also take trophies from their kills, such as scalps and skulls in the case of the Yautja. These guys look interesting, and may be the enemy of the Predator. I am not sure if these characters are American soldiers, perhaps fighting against the Native Americans with their more advanced weaponry, but the Predator does seem to make light work of them. Perhaps there is even kind of an allegiance, as the Predator battles against them, inadvertently helping the Native American tribe. Although the franchise has most commonly seen men battle the Yautja on the big screen, it would certainly not be the first time that women have fought both with and against predators. The films and comics have seen characters like Alexa Woods and Michiko Noguchi in particular become real fan favourites. If this idea of a female lead is done right, it could really work and bring a true underdog feeling for the film. This would hark back to many horror movies from the late 70s and 80s, where the final girl would be left to take on the killer and ultimately prevail through her ingenuity and intelligence. Potentially, Naru could be Predator's answer to the Terminator's Sarah Connor or Alien's Ellen Ripley, although I think that is probably a very tall order. Although I'm all for a positive female lead that takes the franchise forward, I am also skeptical about the film's heroine simply because of the current climate we live in. On too many occasions have we seen franchises and films ruined by overpowered female characters that are there to make some lazy feminist point that has no place in the movie. I personally have no problem with a female being the hero and taking on or even defeating the Predator, however I do have an issue if it's for a political agenda. With this in mind, there is some dialogue from the trailer that does worry me, and that is when Naru is asked, "Why do you want to hunt?" To which her answer is, "Because you all think that I can't." Now it seems like she does at least say this to other women, however if this is some battle of the sexes propaganda film, then no thanks, I'm out. I have no interest in being force-fed some half-baked social justice ideology disguised as a Predator movie. I genuinely hope that Prey is not a film that depicts its male characters as dismissive misogynists who underestimate Naru and die due to their arrogance. In an ideal world, the Predator would kill all the human characters and perhaps would let the heroine live because it respected her fighting spirit. Perhaps after rewarding her with its biomask, it could get in its spaceship and foxtrot Oscar out of there in a situation where everyone kind of wins. Whatever we think of the trailer, I hope all us fans can at least give the film a chance and reserve judgment until after watching it. Based on previous experiences, I will set my expectations for the film as low as possible and hope that I leave the movie theatre as a pleasantly surprised fan. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope we all thoroughly enjoy Prey later this month. Okay, take care.